Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I am going to be talking to you about nurture sequences and most importantly, what to do and what not to do when using a nurture sequence. Nurture sequences are a powerful tool for any company to drive conversions and drive sales, but there are some things that you can do that would undermine any effort that you put into a nurture sequence and lead to no conversions even though you put in the effort to build one. In this video, I'll be sharing my best practices and the data that I've found with hundreds of thousands of nurture sequence messages sent out over the past few years, as well as the things that I've seen do not work and actually hurt my nurture sequence conversion rates. But first, let's get into what a nurture sequence is and how it can grow your business. Now, a nurture sequence is a string of emails, messages, texts, or content that is designed to do exactly what a nurture sequence sounds like, and it's to nurture somebody from being a cold lead or a cold prospect or a cold customer all the way into being a warm or hot customer that converts at the end of the cycle. Over the period of time that the nurture sequences go out, it is designed to build relationships, establish trust, and ultimately convert that person into a paying customer for your business. Nurture sequences can be the most powerful in the middle to bottom of your funnel, where somebody may have opted in for messages or has shown some type of interest in your business or product, but has not yet converted. Nurture sequences are designed to take that person from not being sure if they're going to purchase something with you all the way into completing the transaction. Now, this leads to the all-important question, how can a nurture sequence actually grow my business? And according to research, leads that were nurtured with targeted content converted at a 20% higher rate than those leads that were not nurtured with targeted content to get them closer to the sale. Additionally, companies that use nurture sequences in their marketing generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a 30% lower cost than the companies that do not. These statistics alone should motivate you enough to get out there, build a nurture sequence, and start having these messages go out. Because the best part about nurture sequences is you're often gonna build them in a software that's gonna do this on autopilot for you, requiring no more upfront work. It is something that you put in the work one time, and you're going to reap the benefits of for years to come if you build it out the right way. And you guys know I'm all about leveraging my time to get exponential benefits. So nurture sequences are an extremely valuable way to spend your time because, again, you put in the work one time and you're going to get sales activity from it forever as long as you have it running. Now that we've covered the basics about nurture sequences, let's get into some of the do's and the best practices I've found from running nurture sequences over the past few years to our paid leads and ultimately sending out hundreds of thousands of emails, texts, and messages. The first do for nurture sequences is to segment your list. You do not want to be sending out the same nurture sequence to everybody. There's not a universal message that's going to convert somebody from not knowing if they're going to purchase to you to purchasing with you. You need to talk to these customers differently depending on how they're acting with your list, where they opted in, what kind of information they originally requested, and what products or services they're actually interested in. Keeping this stuff really refined and building the nurture sequences to be very, very tailored to that specific list is going to help you guys drive those conversions at a higher rate. For us, when we had an overarching nurture sequence for all customers, we did not see the benefits that we were hoping to see with our nurture sequences. But when we built out three, building out one for the people that were inactive, meaning they haven't read or responded or anything to our messages in a while, people that are active, people that were enterprise, and then people that were single users, having those four different nurture sequences, talking very specifically to them and their needs and where they were at in their buying journey really helped increase our conversions from getting more demos all the way to getting more sales at the end of the day. And it really changed the way that our emails were perceived and our open rate skyrocketed because of it. All right, so the next thing that you guys want to make sure that you're doing for every single message in your nurture sequence is providing value. Keep in mind that these people might buy from you at some point, but you may need to educate them in some way, shape, or form to help them feel more confident in their buying decision. And that's really what every message in your nurture sequence should do. I have a hard and fast rule that 80% of every single message that we send should provide value to these leads, and 20% of it should be pitch. If I were just to pitch our services or our product in every single email that I send to these people, they're never going to open our emails again. So keeping it 80% value and 20% pitch in every single message builds that relationships, establishes that trust, and shows that you really are here to help them and you're an expert in your field. This will not only build that trust, but this will also keep your brand top of mind. So anytime that your industry, service, or product comes up in their mind, they're thinking back to something that they had learned from you that provided value to them, and therefore your brand is coming up in their mind at that point in time when they're thinking about that service or product. The third and most important do in nurture sequences is using automation. So an automation can actually build out a sequence of emails where you say on day 1, send them this message, on day 3, send them this message, on day 5, send them this text. And having that automation really takes this off your plate, it takes it off your to-do list, and this is where you start to leverage your time with nurture sequences. You build it once, and it will message for the rest of the time that you have that nurture sequence running. And this also allows you to tailor a message based on somebody's behavior. So if they haven't opened your emails or text in about 6 months or so, maybe you want to put them in a different list. Therefore, they get different messages that are designed more to warm them back up to your brand or see if they're even really still in the market for what you have to offer. Having all this automated not only is going to save you time, but it will also make sure that your leads and prospects are receiving the information when it matters to them most, and they're receiving the relevant information to them that will actually help them in their buying process. And the fourth do is extremely important as well, and that comes down to testing and refining your nurture sequences. It's very rare that you're going to hit a home run on the first time that you launch your nurture sequence, especially if it's your first time ever building one. What you need to do is monitor how often your emails are getting opened. My hard and fast rule is a 20% open rate is what I'm looking for across all of the emails that I send. What's your click-through rate? Meaning when somebody opens it, how many people are clicking through? I really try to strive for at least a 1 to 5% range on the click-through rates, depending on what I'm offering and what I'm providing to them. And you also want to make sure that you're not getting spam complaints. If you're getting spam complaints, it's just a clear sign that your messages are not providing value and your prospects just don't want to hear from you. And if you're running into that, it is most likely because your messages are too much pitch and not enough value. At least that's what we found for our companies. Once you experiment with different subject lines, call to actions, and different forms of content, whether it's a video in the email or just text in the email or a PDF download, whatever it is, figure out what works and double down on it. Add it into your sequence more and more and more. And you can also extend the length of your sequences to be a 6-month nurture sequence, a year-long nurture sequence, or even longer than that if you have enough content and enough value to share. My nurture sequences are typically about 6 months. After the 6th month, I write a weekly email blast forever. So whether they've converted within that nurture sequence or not, I'm still going to provide value once a week. And my best weekly blasts get added into my automated nurture sequence. My weekly blasts are my test grounds. And when I find something that works, I put it into the general nurture sequence, making it a little bit longer and getting the leads a little bit closer to a sale with every message. Now that we've gotten into some do's around nurture sequences, let's dive deep into some don'ts and make sure that we don't hurt ourselves or our brand when sending out nurture sequence messages. The first don't is do not overload your leads with too much information in these nurture sequences. Yes, these nurture sequences are designed to add value and bring somebody to not knowing much about your product or service to the point where they can make an educated buying decision. However, you have to keep in mind that these people are opening these emails and they expect to have a really short experience with your email and pull that value out as quick as they can. You do not want to write a lengthy novel in the email that goes over the top 25 tips to picking the right tree trimming service in Arizona. You might want to do something that is the top 3 or the top 1. Keep in mind that there's no limit to how long you can make a nurture sequence. So take your value and divide it up into as many bite-sized pieces as you can, and that will help you move the needle and help your prospects actually retain the value that you're trying to send them in these nurture sequences. The second don't comes down to timing. Keep in mind that I said in the beginning, we need to segment out these lists to send them the right messages at the right time. Do not send the wrong message at the right time to your prospects. For example, if you're sending them a text blast, you want to make sure that you're not sending it at 1 in the morning. If you have something that just says, wait 35 hours until you send this text blast, you don't know what time that text blast is going to get to them. So I have certain parameters to make sure the messaging gets to them at the right time, as well as the content of the messaging. I do not want to push somebody to a sale if they had just gotten one nurture sequence email and they may be brand new to hearing about our brand. That is something I may save till the 6th month when I know they've been opening emails from me over the past 6 months and I know they've been engaging with me and they know they're in the market. So keep in mind, timing as well as the timing of the message are very, very important to make sure that your nurture sequence doesn't fall to deaf ears. The third don't is do not forget about your company's branding. I've seen nurture sequences where the business owner is so laser focused on providing value that they forget exactly what their brand's about. They forget to add in a humorous tone if that's what their brand is about, or they forget to even mention how they've become the expert in the industry that they have become today. Don't forget to use consistent imagery, design, as well as language in your nurture sequences to make people really feel connected with your brand when they go visit your website at a later time. This not only helps your brand's recognition, but also influences its values and personalities and amplifies it to the people reading your messages. And the biggest don't of them all is to sound too salesy in your nurture sequences. You do not want to have 100% pitch emails going out to these people every other day. And while yes, these nurture sequences are designed to get somebody to a conversion, you do not want to come across too salesy because they'll get turned off from your messaging. They'll realize that you're asking for something from them without providing anything in return, and you won't be able to build that trust or relationship with your leads that you need to build in order to get them from not knowing much about your business all the way to purchasing something with you. It may sound counterintuitive not to ask for the sale all the time, but I promise you building this relationship and trust will lead to more conversions down the road. Now, in conclusion, nurture sequences are an extremely valuable and, in my opinion, a critical piece to converting leads into sales. By segmenting your audiences into different lists, providing value, using automation, testing and refining different subject lines and content pieces, you can really design something that's going to become a sales machine for your business. You can put cold prospects, emails, and phone numbers in and receive customers out on the back end. Just remember to avoid providing them with too much information in one piece of content. Be strategic about timing, align with your branding, and be careful not to sound too salesy in all your messages. Remember that golden rule of 80% value and 20% pitch in every nurture sequence email that you create. I hope that by following these do's and don'ts of nurture sequences, you guys are able to take your leads and prospects and turn them into customers at a 50% higher rate at a 30% lower cost than most other companies, as we mentioned earlier in the video. I hope you guys got value out of today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them below. And do not forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.